Hi, this is David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm back on a Wednesday with our resident engineer, Mike Herzog. How's it going today, Mike?
I'm doing all right, David. I probably shared this on here, but I have an office in a shared collaborative workspace, and it's literally underneath a bowling alley. And this time of year, it's holiday parties and things like that. And I don't think it picks up on the microphone, but people have been bowling and drinking and celebrating for about an hour already. It's making me disappointed. I'm sitting here in the office and not up there having fun,
But you know, if you're not from Nebraska, Nebraska is kind of known for its day drinking to start with.
yeah.
I mean, people aren't afraid to be day drinkers here. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
If
especially in the real
there's
estate
nothing
and
else going
construction
on,
space.
might as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how often I've had people ask me to meet to talk about real estate or construction or something like that in the middle of them in the morning, and they all want to have a few beers. And it's like, oh, come on.
Come on. I'm going to be sleepy the rest of the day after.
Yeah, no, that's not really my thing. But anyways, I was going to tell you, it was kind of funny. I've been doing some presentations for a really big acquisition. I'm working with a group. We're trying to take over a NASDAQ company.
Mhm.
And I couldn't figure out why I kept getting these messages, not enough memory to open this tab or whatever. And I had all of these tabs that were actually using like 1.5 meg of memory each. Yeah. And it was all from these big graphical things I'd done. And it's like, I'm not really used to having that kind of stuff,
All that stuff
going
open.
on. Yeah. And I got it all shut down, and now my system's running okay. But we had the longest intro we've ever had to this show. We clicked to go live, and it took like about almost 30 seconds. It was the longest I've ever seen it take. Anyways, our lead article. So yesterday it was Tesla. I don't know if it's a whole lot different today. There's a lot of Tesla news. I mean, yesterday we had the big article. You know, Elon Musk broke the 600 billion mark.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and look at that Tesla price at 478. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. Tesla hit their all-time high stock price yesterday. But there keeps being negative news about Tesla, yet they keep going up. It's like,
Keep going up.
don't bet against Elon. He's got people see that despite the news, you know, nobody's worried that Elon's doing the wrong thing. Anyways, California threatens to suspend Tesla sales over Autopilot marketing. Regulators could suspend Tesla sales for 30 days, and that's probably at least
That's
a quarter.
lot.
Yeah, that'd be a quarter of Tesla's market in the U.S.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Okay. Right? Yeah.
Claiming the Autopilot term constitutes false advertising and misleads consumers about the vehicle's autonomous capabilities. You know, I've driven a like first year Model 3 that had all of the, you know, supposed FSD features in it, and I've driven it from Lincoln to Omaha and back without touching the steering wheel.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so it's like, you know,
autopilot-y. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm just sitting there watching it, and it's like it stays perfectly in the lane. Now, I would occasionally hit the turn signal so it would change lanes and pass somebody, because you'd have it set on 80, and it would pull up behind somebody, and you know, flawlessly slow down to 62 or something behind somebody. Mind you, our speed limit's 75. Okay, so it's, you know, it's not.
I've noticed that too with the match speed or the adaptive cruise control. You can get into that where it's, God, why am I going so slow? And because you're not hitting the brakes, it just kind of glides in there and adjusts itself.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a misnomer to call it autopilot, but if you're in an airplane and you have, you know, you always set once you start getting to a certain altitude after you're taking off, you always set it on autopilot. It's not like you're not still sitting there monitoring the controls.
And that's what it is. It's not like that's not freedom to like read a book, you know, or do something. You're still watching, but the basic functions and everything like that are just automated.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, and there's still, when you're flying, you know, you're still constantly, you know, communicating with the tower,
you're watching gauges, you're doing anything you would be in a car. I mean, you're ready to go. It's just it's not as active.
I don't know. I think that's a bit of, let's see if we can do a gotcha on Elon. This is what it
I
sounds
just, I
like.
guess I don't know to what end they want to push back on. You know what I mean? Of like, just don't call it autopilot, call it auto assisted. You know, something like that. I don't know. I don't know what you would do different.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems still like a reasonable name to me, regardless of what people may want to believe. Oh my God, Oklo's down another 6% today, 78.50. That's crazy when you figure. Remember, I was telling you I bought it at 115 and sold it at like 175, and now it's like $100 below that.
Wow.
I mean, that's crazy that it did that dip. Anyways, Tesla hit a record high yesterday of $489.88, with investors seemingly unconcerned about the regulatory risks. Well, people don't really care about Tesla. I mean, about California, right? It's just not that big of a deal. This regulatory action comes as Tesla simultaneously tests driverless robotaxis in Austin, creating a complex narrative around autonomous vehicle marketing versus actual capabilities. Well,
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's just it's marketing. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't find it deceptive, but there are people who complain. I have had complaints from people who've bought 2025 or 2026 Teslas that own older ones, that
Okay.
the new ones, the self-driving features are more restrictive. They really make you touch the steering wheel more. Now look, the Tesla stock's down to 478, so it went back down $10, or $11. It says down 2.33%. But that's crazy though that it hit an all-time high yesterday. I mean, it's just nuts to think about that it keeps doing that. Elon just needs it to get to, what is it, 10 billion in market cap, and then he can be a trillionaire.
Bonus, yeah.
He becomes a trillionaire. Well, he gets all these stock bonuses.
Yeah.
That'll push him up to being a trillionaire. Anyways, Tesla's testing driverless robotaxis in Austin. Analysts predict there'll be 1 million driverless Teslas by 2035. So in the next 10 years, that's 100,000 a year. That's not really a very big number, honestly.
Well, I'm trying to think too. If the vehicles basically have all that in there and it's an on-off switch that's ready to go, I mean, that could change really quickly. You could build that fleet out very fast.
Let's see. Tesla's begun testing the fully driverless robotaxis in Austin, a major milestone toward commercial autonomous vehicle deployment. Analysts predict 1 million by 2035, representing massive growth potential in the autonomous ride-hailing market. This news contributed to Tesla's stock surge, demonstrating investor confidence in the company's autonomous future despite regulatory challenges. The thing of this is, when I think of the robotaxis, though, I still think of like the Model Y. It's not this new Tesla robotaxi that has no steering wheel and has no pedals and all that.
Yeah. It's still
just
think of it as a car, right? Yeah. You could drive if you had to.
Yeah, I envision sending my Model Y out to pick up people and go earn extra money for me in the evening time, right? That's how I look at it. But the thing is, electricity is so much cheaper than gas, and it's so much cleaner. It makes a lot of sense, and you're starting to get a lot of people who really aren't interested in driving.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've got, my kids aren't driving age yet, but it's a conversation like, you guys want to drive, right? Like, oh yeah, but you talk to so many people, and driving age here is 16 is most places, and they're 18. I just never got my license. Yeah. What? And we're a driving city. This isn't New York or Chicago or places where there's good public transit and hard to park. Like, you have to drive here.
Yeah, I think realistically. So if you figure the driver of like an Uber is half the cost, okay, and then you cut the cost of operating in half because you have these ultra efficient vehicles out driving and doing this work, and electricity being the cost it is. If you were if a couple mile trip went from being $20 plus tip to $5 at no tip, I mean, you're really not talking a lot of money. I mean, you think about it, if the average car in the United States costs about $1,000 a month to own and operate, so that's $33 a day. I mean, you could probably stay underneath that.
Pretty easy, a couple rides,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You might only be spending 10, a third to half that. And
I think once the autonomous gets a couple years of track record in the pickup and robo service and all of that, and people really recognize it's safe, it works, these things, you don't have to deal with the driver, you don't have to deal with people, everything like that. I think it's going to blow up. I think it is set for people do it anyway with the Ubers and Lyfts now. You get in, you look at your phone, you don't talk to the driver. But if there's no driver there, people use that all the time. That will quickly become the preferred option over typical Uber and Lyft. I think it's got to. And just a couple years, people build some confidence, consumer confidence in it, and I think it's about to blow up if it does.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. All right, we actually have Korea in the news twice today, which is kind of interesting. So Ford cancels a $6.5 billion EV battery deal with LG Energy Solutions. Now, yesterday, Ford canceled a $19.5 billion charge against their Ford F-150 Lightning manufacturing. Now, their news yesterday did not talk about the Mach-E. It only talked about the Lightning, and that really has been a disappointment for them. But when you're building $60,000 to $90,000 EVs, it may not have been the right market fit for Ford, right? But Ford really has sold a lot of EVs. I mean, for a while, they were number 2 behind Tesla when they first started launching them. And you had a lot of early adopters, and then it just kind of
I don't know how to read
out.
I don't know how to read Ford and what they're doing, because you see Farley's comments previous to this about EVs are the future. We're getting smoked by the Chinese vehicles. We need to adapt. We need to adopt and change all of this. And the Ford, the Lightning was such an outlier in that space in a positive way. I mean, it was an American product. Truck owners seemed to like it. F-150 owners seemed to like it going forward, and you had that differentiator. So to walk away from it's just I don't understand. I don't quite get it.
I didn't find any good LinkedIn articles to share today, but there was a whole bunch of them where people are basically bashing the EV industry, saying, "Oh, this is the end of EVs or whatever," and it's just like, you dumbass. I mean, this is Ford. Okay, it's like what percentage of the EV market does Ford have?
Yeah,
I mean, Ford's just going to go out of business because they can't sell cars. It's not going to be an issue of EVs. People are like, "Oh, Tesla will be next," and it's like, no. I'm just like, you just don't get it,
it's so wild. It's the American perspective, and it's like, oh, if Ford can't cut it, nobody can cut it, and we're way behind the rest of the world the way this is looking and adapting and an adoption of EVs out in that space. Like we're not driving the ship on this anymore at all.
Yeah, those of you that have watched the show long enough know I'm more of an economist than I am a tech guy, and I look at so much of this from the market dynamics. I mean, what do we have going on? And the reality is, EVs are soon going to be so inexpensive it won't make sense to own a gas car. So whether you hate EVs or not, when you start going, it's like, oh, the equivalent gas car is $10,000 more. Do I really want to pay extra to drive a gas car that needs more maintenance?
Higher operating costs.
Higher operating costs, higher total cost of ownership, and it's $10,000 more expensive. Yeah, you're not going to do that. The gas car is less reliable. There's all these things that the gas car just has against it, and it's not going to make it. It's like that thing we did on the myths that people had, about what if gas cars? If EV thing and gas cars were the new thing, kid on the block, and it's like these would be all the complaints about gas cars. So my understanding is they're going to do the extended range EVs. So they're going to start throwing. They're going to do the Dodge Ram model and start throwing some um, gas generators in the vehicles. So that's probably what they're going to do. So they're probably not going to put a gas engine in them, because obviously people like that EV torque and acceleration. So they're probably going to stick with that and just have that. I don't know what I'm Zero. Oh, that's his name. I'm Zero Cool Ninja 887. Well, thank you for watching. But anyways, yeah, so it's just interesting to see some of these examples. I spent $45 to go 1,300 miles. Yeah, the math doesn't math for gas. Yeah, that's not a whole.
All right. Yeah. I mean,
you found some cheap places to charge. I'm assuming you probably charged at your hotel. Was part of that to keep those costs down, because a lot of your chargers can be more expensive than gas depending on where you go. But anyways, back to the Ford thing. Yeah, this whole thing, writing down that terminating their battery supply agreement, major strategic pivot. But I've also seen something where Ford's trying to do something with cattle to do battery storage. So we know battery storage is going to become a huge thing. That market is expected to quadruple over the next 10 years.
It's for my industry, what I see in the utility space, the fact that batteries don't come standard with just about anything we're doing anymore. I think that's going to turn around. Home storage, local storage, commercial storage. I think that's going to change quite a bit in the next few years.
Yeah. You know, Drew, I've seen some really interesting patents and developments in the hybrid diesel space. And some of them were not just, it was significantly increasing both the horsepower output and the range of diesel engines. Haven't seen them brought to market, okay, but I've seen them, and conceptually, the idea is that they could take and make the engines burn diesel more efficiently. That was a lot of it, because what is it? We generally, like with a gas engine, we'll be like 22% efficient, 22, something like that. It's really inefficient the way a gas engine burns. Diesel gets more power per gallon, but it's still not super efficient. And a lot of it was designing a system with batteries plus the diesel engine, and it was significantly giving it a boost. 240 volt charging takes 8 to 12. Oh yeah. Well, if you're doing that at a hotel, though, that's or at home, that's not really that big of a deal, right? Or you're doing it while you're at work. It's not.
Plus, you don't need to go up to full.
Yeah, right. So the cancellation suggests Ford is dramatically scaling back EV production plans and maybe rethinking its entire battery supply chain strategy. Well, I just don't know. I mean, Farley's talking about a $30,000 EV small truck, which I imagine is going to be like the Ford Ranger, so the Ford Ranger was a 2-door truck and the Maverick is a 4-door truck.
Yeah.
But either one of them, I mean, I look at Mavericks and it's like, man, why doesn't that thing just have they don't even have a plug-in hybrid Maverick, which you'd think that would be kind of an obvious one to do something with. Let me see. Diesel generation of electric, not pure. Yeah. So part of what we're talking about there is
Ram Charger model kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, like the Dodge Ram. But you could do it even with big trucks. I mean, there's no reason that your big trucks couldn't have a bit of both. And an REV could be set to a single RPM to improve performance. I'm not going to pretend I can say whether that works or not. All right. 16 states sue the Trump administration over frozen EV charging funds. And this isn't necessarily something new, but Reuters decided they needed to do an article about this yesterday. 16 states plus DC filed a federal lawsuit after the Trump administration suspended $2.5 billion in EV charging. I assume that this is NEVI it's talking about.
It's gotta be NEVI, yeah.
Yeah. States argue the suspension violates federal law and will stall critical charging network expansion, harming both consumers and the EV market. Have you seen anything new on NEVI here in Nebraska?
In the past couple of months, I've seen a couple of states put out bids and RFPs for this, but I don't know. I don't know if things are moving forward or if they're still allocating any funds. I asked state agencies quite a bit on a lot of these topics just because things change very rapidly, and things that had been allocated and put out there and even distributed in some cases can get clawed back, but then some stuff's still out there and just lingering. I know NEVI, we've talked about it so much, was just a poster child of, hey, the incoming administration of we need to get rid of this. It's all this money is out there and we've produced one charger. Not necessarily the truth. I mean, the money hadn't been spent in these cases, but everything I've seen, people are still asking for it and asking for RFPs to install these things. But if it's frozen, then it's not going to go anywhere, and maybe they just had to get it in before year end. But I can't say for certain just because that stuff changes so darn fast, depending on which bucket of money it comes out of.
Drew, on the solid state batteries and aluminum oxide, there's no question there's a few architectures that do charge faster than LFP. Obviously, the solid state batteries all charge faster and are more energy dense. The thing I haven't seen anybody come out with is like, what does it actually cost to make a solid state battery? That's the reason we don't have them in anything yet. They're probably still 5x what a lithium ion battery is. And that would put us back in 2000, probably about 2014, 2015 prices for batteries. So we don't want to take that big leap backwards, because switching to something like that would add $30,000 to $50,000 to the price of the car for now. We know it's going to come down. We know, and there's all these great technologies, and within 10 years, maybe those solid state batteries will be coming out for a massive discount to where they are now. It's just that we look at LFP and lithium ion batteries, they keep going down. We were talking yesterday, battery storage systems are down to $117 a kilowatt now.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's cheap. Mining. I
don't know what phytomining is, but we talk sometimes about rare earth stuff. Hell, Bill even had somebody protest one of our articles about lithium mining in the Thacker Pass. Okay. And it was kind of like, I went to college in North Dakota. We were the Fighting Sioux. Okay. And we had 3 Sioux tribes. The University of North Dakota had to call the football team or call the sports teams. We were the Fighting Sioux by treaty with the Sioux Indians. Okay. Well, 2 tribes of Sioux Indians wanted it. One of them didn't like it. And anyways, the NCAA made North Dakota change their name. And it was just kind of the wildest thing. It's like, we're required to do this by treaty with the Indians.
And they want that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're the Fighting Hawks. I was really hoping they become like the North Stars or something that made sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Using plants that are heavy accumulators to mine. Yeah, I don't know anything really about mining technology. I only care if they need a nuclear reactor.
Which they do.
Which they do, probably. Yeah. Bill wanted me to show you some device they're using over in Europe that was some kind of inverter that weighs like, it was a crazy weight. I forget what it was, but the weight was significantly, and the thing was, I don't know, the size of a several-story house. It was kind of silly. But anyways, the NEVI thing is kind of, I don't know. It's not surprising that people are trying to get that running. A company called Sunrun and NRG Energy are partnering to create a large-scale virtual power plant in Texas using home battery systems to help ERCOT manage surging electricity demand. The virtual power plant aggregates thousands of residential batteries to act as a distributed grid resources, providing peak demand relief without building new power plants. This is a paradigm shift in grid management, using EVs and home batteries as flexible grid assets rather than just loads. Well, we've known that vehicle to grid. This is home to grid. I mean, it's
home to grid, and it's a federal statute that came out, a federal order, FERC 2222. You have to allow the aggregation of these small assets to participate in power market activities. And it's to spur things like that of, we have these technologies, we have this stuff sitting here, let's be creative about how we operate the grid. It's been bogged down in logistics and technical details and how do you price these and everything like that. So everybody's been behind. I mean, everybody's kind of 2 years behind from where they were supposed to be, but it's out there. I mean, there's federal regulation, like, we should be doing this. So it's cool to see people actually putting that stuff into action, because it's just, once the dam opens and people see that it works and it's market function, I think this is a wave of the future, and good opportunities out there for people that can actually capitalize on it and aggregate those things into the market.
No, it's fascinating to see, and Tesla is now starting to do some things so that their cars can be used in this.
There's limitations. I mean, especially older vehicles, they just weren't made for it. There's always issues with the warranty, because most of the warranties are based off of mileage, but you're cycling the battery without adding mileage to the vehicle. So questions about those things pop up, and, well, how do you do that? And so, well, for a couple of times a month, maybe, is it really that big of a deal? But it's definitely where things are going. It's just nobody's firmed it up. Nobody's really firmed up how we're going to do this or pulled it off. So anytime I see things like that, I'm always really curious, because it'll be a big deal in the electric grid.
All right. So let's see here. We mentioned about so that thing with Elon Musk's net worth going past 600 billion. So not only did Tesla hit a record high, but SpaceX was reevaluated and added $168 billion.
Just some change.
His company SpaceX is currently valued at 800 billion. And he wants to do a IPO at 1.5 trillion.
Oof.
And so it'll probably push him over $1 trillion.
Just that. When that goes public. Yeah,
SpaceX isn't valued as high as Tesla, but Musk only owns 10% of Tesla. Okay, whereas he owns, I don't know what percentage of SpaceX, but I imagine it's north of 80%.
Right? I mean, because it's his company.
Yeah, but there are people who do have shares.
You have shares of it? Okay.
And there is actually a trading market. The shares sell for like $4.21 a share or something like that. There is something to it. Let's see here. All right. You're going to love this one. Toyota invests in, man, we should have people guess what it is in the chat. I mean, this one is just so off base.
Toyota invests in, they moved out of gas or hydrogen.
No, unfortunately, it's hydrogen. Toyota invests in a company called First Element Fuel to boost U.S. hydrogen network.
It is hydrogen? Dang, Toyota.
Just when we think people are giving up on hydrogen, somebody breathes some fresh air into it. I'm sure the hydrogen lovers are. I mean, I get people all the time trying to tell me about all the great things with hydrogen. It's like, you realize it costs 6 times as much to put it in a car as it does to put electricity in there. And it's about twice as expensive as diesel. I mean, it. Let me see. Musk only owns 42% of SpaceX. Thank you, Yogi. So anyways, Toyota made a strategic investment in First Element Fuel to strengthen hydrogen fueling infrastructure for current and future fuel cell vehicles in the U.S. Well, it wasn't that long. It was probably in the last year we saw half of the hydrogen stations. There was about 50 at one time. Now there's about 25 in California.
They're all in California, right?
Yeah, they're all in California. There's, as far as I know, there aren't any stations outside. There's some places where there's some private, locations for hydrogen and all that. It's kind of like the deal in Cape Canaveral, Florida, where they had the hydrogen bus, and there's actually a place you can get hydrogen in Cape Canaveral, but it's not really normal.
No, it's not a service station.
What if the car made rubies with a hydrogen torch while it drove to offset fuel cost? Well, see, then what would happen is the ruby market would crash. Okay, there'd be so many rubies, they'd be worthless. And this is one of the things, like De Beers restricts the amount of diamonds that can go out in the market. They're not as rare.
They're not as rare as you would be led to believe.
Yeah, De Beers only lets so many come to market because otherwise the prices would crash.
Yeah,
and
that's been the case for a long time.
Right. Yeah. So
you used to hear anecdotes in like South Africa and there's just diamonds sitting on the ground, in some of these places, but.
Yeah, I saw something where there's some asteroid floating in space that's going to pass near Earth that's made out of gold, and it would be worth like trillions of dollars. And it's like, oh yeah, so let's go mine that, bring all that gold to the Earth, and all of a sudden, the price of gold just plummets, right? It's funny to think about supply and demand economics, but if all of a sudden if everybody was making their own rubies in their gas tank, then there'd be no market for rubies anymore. They'd be worth like a quarter, and it's really just kind of funny to think about that. But it's not a bad idea. If there was some way we could then use the ruby to like power a nuclear reactor or something like that, and to convert the ruby into tritium. That would be the ticket. We could convert the ruby into tritium so we could fuel a fusion reaction. I don't know. Maybe there's some deuterium. And what is it? It's deuterium. And what's the thing you use to do a fusion reaction? I can't remember what the other molecule is.
The other one is some derivative of hydrogen. Yeah.
Yeah. I want gold bread ties.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Owen out there wearing one of those gold lame shirts with the chain and the little meme that says
very
for the technology.
Very though. Yeah. Thin film gold on everything. Gild everything.
It'll be like the new ballroom at the White House.
It's all gold. Yeah, you go mine that asteroid. That thing could be solid gold. There
you go. That'd be something. Now watch Trump say, "We're going to go mine this asteroid for the ballroom." Yeah.
No, that's like James Bond villain stuff. I'm gonna go mine an asteroid for all the gold.
Yeah. See, that way, if it's only used in the ballroom at the White House, it won't crater the price.
Yeah, the market will stay strong.
Yeah. All right. The Port of Long Beach launched a new hydrogen fuel grant program to support early adopters of hydrogen fuel cell drayage trucks. Despite the broader EV trend, Toyota continues its dual path strategy, betting hydrogen will play a critical role in heavy duty and commercial transportation.
Okay.
Before Nikola got beaten to death, we had some news that Nikola and Walmart were going to partner on some stuff, and it would make sense if like all the Murphy gas stations all had that are the Walmarts, if they all had hydrogen.
A distribution network. You have a built-in distribution network for all of that, which is what you need to enter into the market. You can't build that from the ground up.
Yeah, you need an 800-pound gorilla like Walmart to step into the field to make some of that viable. I'm not saying you couldn't get the economics of hydrogen to improve if you got somebody, if you got Toyota and Walmart to enter some kind of partnership to make something work. It's just, man, you see all these things in Europe where they keep giving up on hydrogen, where they've been working on it for a long time.
It comes overseas. Hydrogen's a bigger deal than it is here, and people want it to work, but it's just it's on the tip of everybody's tongue, but they just can't quite figure it out.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take a crap on hydrogen. Okay, I'd love to see it work. It's just like I said. If the market economics don't work, people don't want to be forced to pay double or triple just because whatever. That's the same reason I say EVs are going to take over from gas cars, is because we can see the writing on the wall. The economics
have turned. We've turned the corner on EVs.
Yeah. If VinFast would really bring that VF3 over here and sell it for 20 grand, they sell it for 10,000 in Vietnam. If they were selling it for 20K in California, man, that thing would sell like hotcakes. It's a cool looking little vehicle, and it's a little two-door, looks like a Suzuki Samurai used to look like in the 90s. And I mean, I think it's a good little model. You know what I mean? And if they flooded the market with that, I think that VinFast would have some real market share here in the United States. Anyways, you know, it's just kind of my thought. But hydrogen, man, I saw this article. It's like Toyota's investing in hydrogen again.
When you said that, guess like can't be hydrogen. Like that's a start, stop. Yeah.
All right. So I told you I had a second article about Korea. All right. This one's a little different. South Korea's Samsung Heavy Industries has received approval in principle. That's an interesting approval in principle from the American Bureau of Shipping.
Okay.
For a floating marine nuclear power platform featuring 2 Smart 100 SMRs developed by the Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute. Now, this is kind of funny. It's like, okay, you're trying to get your nuclear reactors approved. You choose to use America. You know, you like the NRC, the Department of Energy. No, let's go to the American Bureau of Shipping. It's like, that's where I want to get my accreditation. We hadn't thought about that with our nuclear energy program.
I wonder, is it just, it's an offshore thing? And it's, hey, we need to, since they're floating, we want to put it that they're not subject to the same regulations or whatever it might be.
Well, it's just like one of the guys.
We're in international waters, so we can open a casino with it too.
You know, we're working on an island project, and the island doesn't really want nuclear. And so the idea was maybe we put nuclear on a boat or a oil rig near there and run the nuclear reactor from the oil rig and, you know, pump the electricity to the shore. And it's like, it's not really a bad idea. I like the one guy's idea better, though, where we donate land to the Department of Energy. And, you know, so then it applies federal law instead of territory.
Local. Yeah.
But, anyways, as part of the novel concept class approval process, the American Bureau of Shipping grants an approval in principle in early conceptual design phase to assist the client in demonstrating project feasibility to its project partners and regulatory bodies. I'm guessing this one's probably pretty easy to get. I'm just like, the Bureau of Shipping. I didn't even know that was a thing.
No,
I'm a special agent with the American Bureau of Shipping.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
At least it's not called the Federal Bureau of Shipping. Yeah.
But it's the BS. I mean, it's the
the ABS, the American BS.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does call it the ABS as their thing. Wow, that was kind of surprising. But so the idea of a floating SMR nuclear reactor setup isn't completely new, because the first SMRs deployed in the world were in 2020 in Russia. They got some up in the what do you call it, Siberia, up on the northern coast, where they have mining, and they have 300 megawatts of small modular reactors on a boat, and it produces all the energy for the mining operations and the city.
Okay.
So and I'm assuming they probably burned coal before that, and it's easier just to have that than worrying about the logistics of getting coal, or maybe they were shipping diesel. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. If you're shipping anything up there, it's going to be very expensive.
Yeah, and they were probably having issues with, you know, shipments not arriving on time, right? And so this probably solved the problem. But it looks kind of like a Russian submarine. Let's see. I guess it's probably a good design for it, though, right? So here it is, the Samsung FSMR, floating small modular reactor. So it does look kind of like a atomic sub. There's a cutaway. It's got a bunch of propane tanks, it looks like. Now, I don't know what those are, but yeah, that's their look.
It's not crazy when you think of some of that, like how much of our Navy is nuclear powered at this point.
Right.
I mean, there's floating reactors and submerged reactors all over the place.
I'm sure if an aircraft carrier is parked, you could probably run an extension cord and charge up your car.
I mean, realistically, I mean, maybe not your car, but to support like ground operations.
Right.
I bet there's a method out there for that.
Let's see. The Smart 100 is an advanced version of the original Smart design, which became the world's first SMR to receive standard design approval in mid-2012. Smart is a 330 megawatt T. Megawatt. I'm used to MWE for megawatt energy. MWT. A pressurized water reactor. So if it's a pressurized water reactor, we know it's Gen 3, with integral steam generators and advanced safety features. The unit is designed for electrical generation up to 100 MWEs, megawatt energy, as well as thermal applications such as seawater desalination, with a 60-year design life and 3-year refueling cycle. So those all sound like reasonable numbers for a third gen. Let me see. The Smart 100 offers increased thermal output, rising from 330 megawatts to 365, and its electrical has been boosted from 100 to 110. That's a lot of thermal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a big difference. It's interesting when we look at the different reactor designs, because some of them, there is this one company that just went public, and I can't. It's their stock ticker symbol is NKLR, and the stock. It had a nice IPO, and then it's just been progressively cratering. But they have a 1 megawatt reactor. I think it produces like 5 megawatts of thermal.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's much larger than you'd expect. It takes up for 1 megawatt. Remember, we've looked at some HTGR designs that were
very compact.
Two cubic meters per megawatt.
This one is outhouse. It was outhouse size.
Yeah. Well, this one is full 20-foot shipping container size with 1 megawatt plus 5 megawatts of heat. Whereas we were looking at, say, 15 megawatts of electricity with 5 megawatts of heat, taking up the same space from the HTGR style design. So there's lots of different, it's really crazy to think, you'd think there'd only be one way to make nuclear energy, but there's about 8+ different designs that are recognized. There's one in the 4th gen space that nobody's created yet. That's this. It's still got the water, but the idea is that if it works right, it's kind of a combination of an HTGR with a water type reactor that's using the CANDU technology from Canada that makes the tritium. So I was looking at the idea of that because it would increase your yield by your profit yield on the reactor by about 5%. My whole thing is there's all these companies saying that they've got fusion ready to go, and there's a few of them. Fusion's exciting because in theory it's limitless energy. It's the dream people had for fission years ago, but fusion, the challenge is, for those of you who don't know, you need fission nuclear reaction, which is what we've been doing since World War II. Okay, to create tritium, and it's the tritium and deuterium. So you're merging the tritium and deuterium, and that you fuse them together. You get helium as a byproduct. You need that to generate the fusion reactions. The problem is the fusion reaction is there's not enough tritium in the world, so every fusion reactor requires about 5 times the amount of tritium that exists on the planet.
There's a supply chain issue for you.
Yeah, there's major, and all of Canada Canada has like 17 or 19 CANDU reactors that make tritium, and they either make 2 to 4 kilograms annually out of all those reactors.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, and they're just so, I mean, it's crazy to think how little it's made. There's some way the military can make it too. So there's a couple of ways it can be made, but that's the main one, is coming from these CANDU reactors. And so I'd looked at this other type of technology for fission reactors for Gen 4. And it just, the economics weren't as compelling as I was hoping that it would be. The economic slam dunk to make it necessary. It's like
there,
yeah, and in fact, maybe it overcomplicates things. Anyways, but that was all I had for today. Which was honestly a fair amount of news to cover.
Covered a lot of ground. Let's go.
Oh yeah. The whole Toyota thing with hydrogen. It's like, you're looking at, it's like, okay, you got these big public companies like Toyota and Ford making these decisions, and I'm just like, okay.
See, those are ones I wonder, and I don't know enough about the internal working dynamics, but if it's just new people coming into new positions, like what if we tried hydrogen? A great idea. That's innovative. That's great. It's just
hydrogen
been around that block before.
Yeah, hydrogen. If you're coming from the green energy space, or this just strictly the save the planet space, hydrogen is an impressive solution.
Yeah.
Okay. The fossil fuels. There's no question. The problem is it's just like fusion. It requires a lot of energy to create hydrogen. And then once you created it, it's hard to store and transport hydrogen. It's really hard to get it to market. And that, because of that, you have all these economic issues. Where we found that hydrogen makes a lot of sense is when you're manufacturing hydrogen at a location that's remote.
Yeah.
And if you're making it someplace that's remote and you're having supply chain issues,
and it's all right there.
that it makes sense. We're not saying there's not applications for hydrogen. I hope hydrogen does improve.
I think we're both on the same boat. Like, great. What a good product. It's just logistically such a challenge. There's no infrastructure surrounding it today.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some of these things. It's like, hey, if you build this $2 million catamaran, you can use it to make free hydrogen, and it produces so much hydrogen. And I was doing the math. It's like, okay, over 20 years, you basically paid back for the catamaran.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, once again, the math just isn't working. And it's like, but it seems like a great idea because we're able to do all this and basically make the hydrogen for free because we're using a solar powered and wind powered catamaran. And it's like, I don't know. I kind of like this TV show, Landman.
I know what it is. I haven't watched it though.
Yeah, there's only 3 episodes of it, and it's kind of cool. But they crap on wind turbines in the thing, and they're not intellectually honest in some of the things. But the guy who's the actor, he says he actually has people in the oil space come up to him and thank him for the speech he gave in the show, and it's like, yeah, it's not entirely accurate. Okay. There's obviously things. I saw somebody talking about on LinkedIn about how people always want to criticize EVs for the use of cobalt, and that's a funny one because you use cobalt in drilling oil, and making your
everywhere,
your cell phone, your laptop batteries, all these, and nobody cared about cobalt until it went into EVs. And a lot of EVs don't use it, so it was just kind of funny. Well, I've only watched 3 episodes. Maybe I did something wrong when I tried to watch it. I don't know, but anyways, it's they're disingenuous in some of their comments though about clean energy. But the guy, he sounds good when he's talking. He sounds real
I'm
convincing.
sure it's good, but
Yeah,
good
makes for good dialogue.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, hope everybody's safe. It's holiday season for all kinds of people around the world. Anyways, I'll be back on Friday with Bill, and otherwise, folks, have a great day, and thanks for watching today.